Picture this. I'm standing in front of a cracked mirror in our modest bathroom. The faint hum of suburban silence wrapping around me like a familiar blanket. My name's Paul, 33 years young, a graphic designer who's carved out a quiet life. In a sleepy corner of Chicago's outskirts, I spend my days hunched over a laptop, crafting visuals in the solitude of my home office, far from the chaos of the city. My world, though, isn't just lines and colors on a screen. It's tethered to Emily, my wife of 6 years. She's 31, a whirlwind of energy, a marketing coordinator who feeds off the buzz of people and places. Where I'm a shadow, content. To linger in the background, Emily is the spotlight, always chasing the next thrill. We collided back in college, thrown together for a group project. I was the guy with the sketches, and she was the one steering the ship, her confidence pulling me out of my shell. I couldn't resist her fire. It was like gravity. 6 years of marriage later, we've danced through highs and lows. I crave the steady rhythm of routine, while she's always itching for something new, something bold. Somehow, we've made it work, balancing on the tightrope of our differences, or at least, I believed we had. Tonight, though, started like any other. I was sprawled on the couch, scrolling through design ideas, when Emily burst into the room, her laughter cutting through the stillness. Her eyes sparkled with that familiar mischief as she perched on the armrest, her hand brushing my shoulder. "Paul, let's shake things up," she said, her voice dripping with excitement. "There's this spot downtown I've been dying to check out. Neon Pulse. It's called a nightclub that's all the rage right now. Come on, let's go." I hesitated, feeling the weight of my comfort zone pulling me back, but her infectious grin was impossible to resist. So, here we are, cruising through the heart of Chicago, the city lights splashing across the windshield in streaks of gold and crimson. Emily's humming along to some upbeat track on the radio, her fingers tapping the steering wheel, her energy buzzing through the car like static. I can't help but smile, even though my nerves are gnawing at me, whispering that I don't belong in a place like this. We park a block away, the cool night air hitting my face as we step out. Emily grabs my hand, her grip warm and firm, and we walk toward Neon Pulse, the distant thrum of bass vibrating through the pavement. Even before we reach the entrance, I can feel the pulse of the place, like a heartbeat echoing through the walls. We slip inside, and it's like stepping into another world. Strobe lights flash in electric blues and deep purples, slicing through the haze of the crowded room. The air is heavy, thick with the mingled scents of sweat and sugary cocktails, a heady mix that clings to my senses. Bodies are everywhere, people of all ages, some in ripped jeans and tees, others decked out in glittering outfits that catch the light like shattered glass. They're all moving, swaying, grinding to the relentless beat that shakes the floor beneath my feet. I shove my hands into my pockets, feeling like a fish out of water, my shoulders hunched against the chaos. Meanwhile, Emily is already in her element, her body swaying to the rhythm as she tugs me onto the dance floor. I'm awkward at first, my feet clumsy against the pulsing beat, but her laughter is a lifeline in this sea of noise and motion. The heat of the crowd presses in around us, a suffocating wall of energy that makes my shirt cling to my back, damp with sweat. Emily spins in front of me, her red dress flaring out like a flame, catching the strobe lights in bursts of crimson. Her joy is infectious, and for the first time tonight, I feel myself loosening up, a rare smile tugging at my lips as I try to match her wild, carefree moves. Just as I'm finding my footing, something shifts. A man cuts through the crowd, tall and imposing, his broad shoulders filling out a worn leather jacket. His jawline is sharp, almost too perfect, and there's a confidence in his stride that makes my gut twist. I don't know him, don't recognize a single feature, but he's heading straight for us. Before I can even process what's happening, he's behind Emily, his hands sliding around her waist with a familiarity that stops me cold. My heart stumbles, expecting her to pull away, to shove him off with that fiery spirit I know so well. But she doesn't. Instead, she leans back into him, her head resting against his chest as their bodies move in perfect sync to the thumping bass. I freeze mid-step, my mind a chaotic storm. Who is this guy? Does she know him? Is this some kind of twisted game? My stomach churns, a sickening weight settling in as I watch her hands rest casually on his forearms, her smile never faltering. I'm just feet away, still swaying awkwardly, to the beat like an idiot, caught between the urge to storm over and the paralyzing fear of what I might uncover if I do. The music grows louder, a deafening roar that drowns out my spiraling thoughts. Other dancers bump into me, their elbows and shoulders jarring me back to reality. But they're oblivious to the way my world is tilting off its axis. Then, Emily's. As Emily's gaze locked with mine on the dance floor, a silent signal passed between us, and before I could react, she tugged at my hand, pulling me away from the pulsing crowd. The stranger followed, his presence like a shadow we couldn't shake. And the three of us wove through the sea of bodies toward a narrow hallway at the back of Neon Pulse. My heart was hammering, each beat louder than the bass that still vibrated. Through the walls? I didn't know where we were going, didn't understand why I was letting this happen. But my feet moved anyway, dragged by some invisible force. We pushed through a heavy door into the bathroom, and the chaotic energy of the club was instantly muted, replaced by an unsettling stillness. The flickering fluorescent light above buzzed erratically, casting harsh, jittery shadows across the graffiti-scrawled walls. Scrawled messages and crude drawings overlapped in a chaotic mess, some faded, others fresh with Sharpie ink. The air carried a faint sting of disinfectant, undercut by the stale, sour tang of spilled beer that lingered like a bad memory. The muffled thump of music seeped through the door as it swung shut behind us with a heavy thud, sealing us in this eerie quiet. It was just the three of us now, trapped in this grimy, claustrophobic space, and the shift in atmosphere made my skin crawl. The stranger, who hadn't uttered a single word since he appeared, leaned casually against the chipped porcelain sink, his posture relaxed but his smirk sharp and unnerving. His eyes flicked between me and Emily, like he was sizing up a game he already knew he'd win. My hands clenched into fists at my sides, trembling with a mix of fear and frustration. But my throat felt tight. The words I wanted to scream stuck somewhere deep inside. I couldn't ask what was happening, couldn't demand answers, even as my mind raced with 1,000 questions. Emily let go of our hands, her warmth slipping away as she turned to face me. Her eyes glinted with something I couldn't decipher. Was it excitement, defiance, or maybe even pity? She stepped closer, her presence overwhelming in the cramped space. And I'm standing there, frozen, as Emily's gaze pierces through me. For just a heartbeat before she turns away, her movements deliberate, almost rehearsed. My chest tightens as she steps toward the stranger, closing the small distance between them with a grace that feels like a punch to my gut. Her hands glide up his chest, slow and intentional, her fingers brushing against the leather of his jacket, before curling around his neck. I watch, helpless, as her touch lingers, her fingertips weaving into his hair, pulling him closer with a hunger I've not seen in her for far too long. My vision blurs, hot tears stinging my eyes as she draws him down into a deep, consuming kiss, their bodies melding together in a way that erases me from the room entirely. It's as if I'm a ghost, unseen, unheard, while the world I thought I knew crumbles right in front of me. The sound of their heavy breathing, the faint, intimate noise of their connection, slices through the stale air of this grimy bathroom, like a blade. Each moment, each subtle shift of their closeness, digs deeper into my chest, carving out pieces of me I didn't know could hurt this much. My legs tremble beneath me, weak and unsteady, threatening to collapse as I stumble back. My hand grasping the edge of the cold, chipped sink for support. The porcelain is rough under my grip, grounding me just enough to keep me from falling apart completely. But inside, a storm shock crashes over me like a tidal wave. Anger burns hot in my veins, humiliation stains my every thought, and, worst of all, there's this sick, inevitable feeling settling in my bones. This isn't a fleeting mistake. This isn't a moment of weakness. It's the way she moves with him, the ease in how their bodies fit, the unspoken rhythm between them. A betrayal that's been brewing for longer than I dared to imagine. My mind reels, spiraling back through the past year, piecing together fragments I'd willfully ignored. Those late-night work meetings she'd come home from with vague excuses, her hair slightly mussed. The unexplained texts lighting up her phone after what feels like an eternity. Emily finally pulls away from the stranger, her breath uneven as she wipes her lips with the back of her hand. She turns to face me, her expression cold, almost daring me to shatter right there in front of her. Her eyes lock onto mine, sharp and unyielding, as if she's waiting for the explosion she knows I'm holding back. The stranger steps away, adjusting his jacket with a casual flick, like this is just another fleeting moment in his night, nothing worth lingering on. My chest heaves, each breath a struggle, as I force myself to stand taller despite the weight crushing me from the inside. My voice trembles, but I push the words out, raw and unfiltered. Emily, if you need to do this, if you need to find whatever this is with someone else, fine, but not in front of me. Never again in front of me. Her eyes widen just a fraction, a tiny fracture in that icy facade, but she doesn't say a word. She just stares, and the silence that follows is heavier than anything I've ever felt, suffocating me in that grimy bathroom with its flickering light and stale air. I can't stand there any longer, trapped in that moment with the two of them. I turn, my shoulder brushing against the cold wall as I shove past the heavy door, leaving them behind without a backward glance. The muted thump of the club's bass slams into me as I stumble back into the chaos of neon pulse. The strobe lights blind me, flashing in jagged bursts of color, and the noise the relentless, pounding beat feels like it's tearing through my skull. I weave through the crowd, my vision blurred, ignoring the curious glances from strangers who must see the wreckage written all over my face. Bodies press against me, sticky with sweat, but I push forward, desperate for escape, until I finally reach the exit. The door swings open, and the cool night air hits me like a slap, sharp and biting against my flushed skin. I stumble to the side, leaning against the rough brick wall of the building, my hands pressing into the coarse surface as I try to pull and forget to subscribe, like, and comment if you enjoyed this story. This will help us create more engaging stories for you.